Hello, my name. Hello, my name is Okorie Johnson. I'm a cellist and a storyteller. And on this date, in 2014, I turned 40, which is where my story begins. On the morning of my 40th birthday, I woke up profoundly blue. I'm not 100% sure why. Nothing horrible had happened to me in the last 24 to 48 hours. Nonetheless, that morning, I woke up in a considerable funk. In truth, I was frustrated with my career. I had chosen to become an aspiring filmmaker, and 3 years earlier, I left the classroom with Bo Adams at Westminster to produce a screenplay that I'd been writing. And in truth, I got out to a great start. In the first 2 years, I was able to raise money for the screenplay. I got an opportunity to shoot a pitch video for the film. I got a chance to travel out to LA to shoot a Tony Award-nominated actor who wanted to be the lead in my project. I got a chance to sit across from Danny Glover and pitch my idea, and he seemed interested and encouraged me to follow up with his people. But 3 years later, in 2014, not so much success. As a matter of fact, I was at a point where I had to decide whether I was going to continue down this path or change directions and go back to my responsible, comfortable life as an English teacher. And I wasn't so happy with that decision because it suggested that I was flirting with failure. However, that's not really enough for me to wake up that morning so blue, because that had been my reality for the last year. And normally, I was able to wake up and be my usual happy self. But on that morning, all of the insecurity, all of the anxiety, all of the uncertainty, all of the fear bubbled over, and I woke up probably for the first time in my life in despair. So I sat down and I started playing the cello. I frequently would do that. And I should give you a little background on myself and the cello. I started playing when I was 6. I took to it pretty quickly and played all the way through high school. I didn't go to music school, even though that was an option. Instead, I went to Morehouse and I majored in English. But while I was at Morehouse, I realized that I played well enough to make music with people, and people would ask me to be in their bands. People would ask me to record on their projects. People would ask me to travel with them to play music. As a matter of fact, my first career post-college was as a professional contemporary rock cellist. Yeah. But as I got older and I met my wife, or I met the woman who would be my wife, and we started planning our future, and we realized that we were going to have a family and have a home and cars and debt, I decided to do something more practical and to use my English degree and become an English teacher. However, I never put the cello too far away from me. As a matter of fact, for the entirety of my time as a teacher, I either taught cello lessons, or I did session work, or I played in bands, or I wrote music. And if we jump ahead to 2011, when I was considering leaving the classroom to produce this film, the only reason why I thought I could do it was because I knew that I could make money as a cello teacher, as a person who played in bands, as a person who could do session work, as a person who could write music. And so when the project was going wonderfully, I didn't really need my cello. But when the project was going poorly, I sought out my cello. And I would sit down, and I would improvise, and I would play whatever came to mind and give whatever was churning inside of me an opportunity to escape through the music that I was playing. So that morning, I sat down at my cello, and I played, but something very special came out. I sat and I listened for a few minutes, and then I started to tear up. I started to tear up because I feel like those 7 notes and repetition stated more succinctly the problem in my life than almost anything else that I had written. And it's funny, if you'd asked me 48 hours earlier whether I had a problem, I would have denied it. So I listened to that bass line, and all I wanted to do was I wanted to solve that problem. I wanted to play, I wanted to improvise over top of that bass line and to figure out a solution. And I would improvise things like this. I would improvise things like, even. And about 20 minutes later, I crawled out of this improvisational trance, and I was bawling. Now, I have to share with you that I'm not an amazingly emotional person. I'm not unemotional, but I don't think people would describe me as a crier. But here I was, crying because I felt like this bass line and these improvisations, they were trying to tell me a story. They were trying to help me understand something, and I so wanted to understand, and I wasn't there yet. So for the next 2 weeks, anytime I got an opportunity, I sat down and I improvised over this bass line. And I just played and played and tried to find something that would speak to me. And this is what came out. And I stopped, and you guessed it, I cried. I cried this time because that was it. That was everything I was trying to say. That was everything I was trying to say in my screenplay and the web series I was working on and the essays I had written as a teacher and the poetry I'd written throughout my life. I felt like the bass line, the improvisations, and that melody were the most eloquent thing I'd ever written. And I named it 40. And 40 would go on to be the mother of the best year of my life. 40 helped to spawn songs that were written in similar style and fashion. Those songs told stories that fit neatly together into a concert. That concert was the foundational concert of a concert series entitled Epiphany. And Epiphany was a concert series where I would play my solo set once every month in the year of 2015. It was a set in which I explored what the world and my life were telling me through music. So I'm new to the design thinking terminology, but I am not new to the design thinking process. When I read it, I really identified with empathize, and define the problem, and then ideate, and then develop a prototype, and then test that prototype. As a matter of fact, that I think is what I have been doing as a creative artist for all of my life. And if you can see, it's actually what I think happened with me in this song 40 and the concert series. But I hope also you can see that more than just delivering a song and a concert series, this process helped me to solve a problem that was deeply personal. And it helped me to find clarity of purpose. And when I think about the solution, I realize that I learned more about myself in some instances than I did about the problem. And I think that's what's interesting about even the design thinking process. It doesn't just tell us what we think about a particular problem, it shows us how we think. And how we think is such a vivid snapshot of who we are at any given point in our life. I think that's such a powerful gift to give students and teachers and thinkers, not only the ability to understand the world and perhaps problems in that world and to create solutions for those problems, but perhaps a way of even understanding yourself and maybe creating or recreating yourself as part of a solution to a bigger problem, which is what I think I ended up doing. I recreated myself as a more authentic storyteller, from a filmmaker to the cellist I'd always been. I think that's what I learned preparing this talk for you, that not only did this song help me to realize what I should do with my life, but it helped me to realize that cello might be my most authentic voice and that it might be the medium through which I do most of my storytelling. You know, it also helped me to realize something else, that even though you come up with a solution for a problem, it doesn't mean that you're done with that solution or with that problem. I've been playing this song 40 for 18 months now. And about 3 months ago, as I was playing the last 3 notes of the melody, all of a sudden I started to tear up again. And it was because words were starting to fuse to those notes. 3 words, really 2 phrases, 2 3-word phrases were starting to fuse to those notes. Let me show you what I mean. The last 3 notes are and then the words that started to fuse to those notes were I love you and it's okay. And so perhaps the song only partly helped me to figure out what I should do with my life. It was also maybe telling me that at a moment when I wasn't so happy with what I had accomplished or with what I thought the future looked like, I should still be okay with loving myself. Or maybe the cello was saying, I love you. But I think ultimately all of it was saying, it's okay. And so 3 months ago, that song took on a brand new meaning for me. And every time I play it, that's what I'm left with. So if there's one thing that you take away from my talk, I hope it's that not only is design thinking a really powerful tool or process for understanding the world and the problems inside of that world and perhaps coming up with solutions for them, but it can be also an equally powerful tool for better understanding yourself and maybe even recreating yourself as part of a solution to a very personal and intimate problem. My name is Okorie Johnson, and I'm a cellist and a storyteller. I play under the name Ok Cello, and you can find me all over the place there. I'm going to play you out of this song to end. Thank you very much. Um, I've been asked also to play a few songs for you, so if you guys are okay with that, I'm going to play for about another 15 minutes. Um, the next song I'm going to play for you, unfortunately, is not amazingly happy or upbeat, but I think it's important and timely. About a year ago, I wrote this song, Incredulous, after the church shooting in Charleston, South Carolina. And I think at that point I might have been emotionally drained because it seemed like in 2014 and 2015, every 6 weeks or so, something horrible and tragic was happening to our country around race, around police, around how we understood ourselves as a nation. And that wasn't so much the last straw, but I think I was just, one, empty, and two, just at this point in disbelief that it was happening not just again, but like this. And so I wrote this song, Incredulous, in response to that as a way of really dealing with that emotion. It became a part of my set, and I played it frequently, and I'm not going to suggest that the world got, immeasurably better, but just it seemed like towards the end of 2015, things slowed down. And then Orlando. And again, it was the exact same emotion for me. So the name of this song is Incredulous, and it attempts to explore, one, my disbelief that this is where we are, but there's anger, there's frustration, and I just would like to share it with you right now. Do I have about 10 minutes left? I'm going to try and do 2 more songs if I can in 10 minutes. I feel the need to do a love song in response to that, just to kind of balance it. There's a a song I do called Cloudy Morn that started out as a melody that I thought had a really strong narrative component. And it was a young man who was professing his love to a young woman whom he loved, but whom he was not sure would marry him. Not sure what the circumstances are, whether there's financial issues or whether their parents don't like each other or they come from different ethnic groups, but for whatever reason, he's not sure that it will work out. But he's going to tell her anyway, and he's going to offer his hand in marriage. So I wrote the melody, and I was like, oh, wow, I really like this. It sounds great. And then I realized you can't really be that patriarchal and just write his perspective and not give her an opportunity to respond, right? So I decided to write a melody from her perspective, and a lot of it will be the same, that yes, she loves him, that she cares for him, she's not sure that marriage is the thing, that they should do that. And she gives him an answer towards the end of her response. I would like to say that, and it just so happened that those two responses fit on top of each other. So no, I kind of wrote hers so that it worked with his. But I did that because I do think that they belong together. And I think when you put their two melodies together, it creates this really beautiful song that gives us the answer that we're looking for and affirms our belief and the power of love even in difficult circumstances. The name of this piece is called Cloudy Morn. She responds. And together. Cloudy More. I'm going to leave you with my last song. It is kind of my hit. I don't know that I have a hit, but it's the one song that I play that people want to hear most. I'm going to be, during the break, upstairs if you want to talk or you have any questions. I'll also have some CDs. 3 of the songs that I've played tonight are actually on that CD. And I really enjoyed being able to play for you, and I thank you for inviting me. And the last song of the evening will be Liminal.